I began treating my husband more like a friend after being turned down for years, and now he's not talking to me. I, 44 female, have been married to my husband, 39 male, for just over 20 years. We get along very well, and we both care for each other very much. I can honestly say he is my best and closest buddy, and I know we can both trust each other with anything. We have so much shared history together, and we have each been there for each other through tough times and good times. Right now, we are financially stable, and we both work full-time. He works from home, and I drive about 40 minutes each way. We also have 2 kids, 20 female and 18 male, who are in college but still live at home, and we are paying their tuition. For the first 5 years or so, we were both very close and had a lot of physical intimacy. Even with small kids, our personal lives were healthy. After a while, I guess things got busier for us both. We still had physical intimacy regularly, but it was less spontaneous and mostly on the weekends. It stayed like that for years. But around 3 or 4 years ago, things slowed down a lot. It got to where he was only interested if he was in his fertile period. Then after a while, it got to be less and less frequent to the point where it was, like, only 5 to 7 times per year. For me, the lack of physical intimacy was very tough. When I would talk about it with him, he would say that he still finds me good looking and that I'm not doing anything to turn him off. He let me know that he isn't upset by my approaches and typically feels complimented when I show interest. That said, I was still being turned down about 19 out of 20 times. I got to a point where I was just unable to balance the intimate rejections and lack of physical closeness against the rest of our otherwise wonderful relationship. Then one day, something just snapped inside me, and I decided I couldn't live with this kind of stress anymore. So in a kind of last-ditch attempt to save my peace of mind, I decided to try something different. I started to train myself to think of him the same way I think of my friends and coworkers. Anytime I found myself thinking of him intimately, I would tell myself, no. That thought is not okay. And then I would quickly do something else to take my mind off it. At first, it was tough. After a few months, I trained my brain to think of my husband as more of a friend and not to entertain intimate thoughts of him at all. During this time, about 5 months, he seemed completely unaware of it. Recently, however, he tried to come on to me, and I turned him down. I wasn't mean or anything, but I honestly just wasn't in the mood, probably for the first time in decades, lol. He wasn't happy, but he seemed okay about it. The next day was a Saturday, and he was clearly feeling romantic, but I still wasn't feeling up for it. Not that I couldn't have, but it somehow just felt like a step down from my self-respect and self-worth. Like, I would suddenly be no better than a dog waiting for leftovers or a child begging for another helping of food. It just didn't feel right. I never said any of that. I just politely declined and said I had some other things I was planning to do, which was actually true. That night, I found him crying in our bedroom, and he said to comment friend zone so he can tag you in the next part.